Free-to-play games are a dime a dozen, and so are games that try to replicate Counter-Strike. CSGO has a very simple premise really. Over the past few years, a few fun modes have been added, and there's even a hostage mode now that some people still play, but the core gameplay experience has remained exactly the same over the years. The idea is simple: 2 teams, 1 defending and 1 attacking. Bad guys versus good guys. One of these teams are trying to plant an explosive, and the other team needs to either stop them doing it or defuse the bomb when they do. 5 players on each side, and raw aim and skill is a big part of what has made Counter-Strike the pinnacle of esports over the years, at least when it comes to first-person shooter games. With that in mind, there are so many games that have come and gone and tried to replicate what CSGO offers. And on the surface, that shouldn't be too hard. After all, the idea is very simple. But what those games don't have, and CSGO does, is heritage. You can copy CSGO, but you can't copy the history that it has, and that's what's always made it so popular. The other factor is the skill required. Each gun has recoil to it, it's not just a laser beam like in other games. The AK, for example, can kill in 1 shot to the head if you've got good aim, but likewise you can learn the spray pattern, and that's where the skill comes in. There are weapons like the AWP, a big sniper rifle, that can one-shot enemies regardless of health with a chest or headshot. Then of course you've got to mention the power of Valve. They are a behemoth of a company, and you've got to take that into account when you think of how successful Counter-Strike in general has been. You could argue that CSGO wouldn't have been as popular as it was without the whole skin system, which honestly went insane. Thousands of pounds for a virtual skin is crazy to me, but at one point the CSGO gambling sites were everywhere. There are still some around, but I feel as though after Valve put more restrictions in, trading and gambling in CSGO has taken a dip. Of course, the whole skin system also helps to fund major tournaments, and that therefore enhances the popularity of the game even more. Something that other FPS games just haven't managed to achieve, at least not on the same scale as much as they try. Perhaps PUBG and Fortnite would be the big exceptions. And this brings me onto a free-to-play game that I found called Black Squad. It's a game made by NS Studio, which is a Korean studio. It's actually been available to play since the summer of last year, so this isn't exactly a new game, but that doesn't mean that it isn't popular. It's an early access game, and you can download it right now for free on Steam. Of course, with free-to-play games just like Iron Sight that we looked at recently, they have to make their money somehow, and when it comes to Black Squad, that's with skins. When you think of the most popular skins in CSGO, or at least the most expensive ones, you think of the knives, at least before the gloves were available. So, Black Squad, yep, you guessed it, has custom knife skins, as well as some crazy weapon skins that players can buy. You also run faster with your knife out, so that's even more reason to get a lovely skin for it, if you're going to see it quite regularly. Everyone knows that you run faster with a knife.
You wanna go for a jog, man? We can go for a jog.
Okay, but what are you doing with a knife?
What do you mean? Run faster with a knife. Everyone runs faster with a knife.
Now, I'm not saying Black Squad is the new CSGO, nor am I saying it's as good. I think that's personal preference, but I will say this: it's actually a lot of fun. The core game mode is Demolition, which can be played in either 5v5 or 8v8, and if you've ever played CSGO, this will be very familiar to you. It's a round-based system where each round plays out until either the bomb is planted and then either explodes or is defused, or one or either team is eliminated. As such, the way a round plays out does feel very similar to CSGO. Work as a team to spread your defences over the 2 bomb sites, as well as a usual middle section of the map. The biggest thing going for Black Squad, I think, is the fact that it's free. CSGO isn't exactly a full-priced game though, and you can get it for pretty cheap. But when I played Iron Sight recently, which feels very similar to COD, you realise that there are actually some pretty decent free-to-play games out there. I think in the past, free-to-play games have lacked a lot of elements of quality because they're made by smaller indie teams for the most part, and they don't have the manpower or resources to put something super polished together. But sometimes a studio does have that monetary backing and uses their development talent in an efficient way and makes something that's actually pretty good. So Black Squad is definitely skill based, headshots matter a lot, but I wouldn't say that the guns have recoil as such, certainly not like CSGO. That being said, I think that firing single shots at a distance and taking your time to hit the head really matters, and that definitely makes it a skill based game in my opinion. One thing that I don't like though is the back end UI. When you first load the game, you've got a menu open to your statistics and options, the shop and the choices to find a new multiplayer game. It just doesn't look very nice, it's not particularly appealing, at least not to me. It looks a bit messy and just isn't structured too well, I think. That being said, that doesn't matter all too much when you get into a game. One thing that I do like though is the option to change your crosshair within the settings. You can change the type, size, colour, thickness, and all with a small in-game image, so you get an idea of what that's going to look like. Nice little feature. The game itself though is made on Unreal Engine 3 and the weapons and models look fine, although the animations are perhaps a bit janky at times for want of a better term. The maps though, while fine, are a little bland. Some of them look better than others, but this is a tricky one because I think when it comes to hyper-competitive games like Counter-Strike, players for the most part want very clean maps with as little props and distractions as possible and clear backgrounds so you can easily see and identify enemy players. Valve have recently been going through most of their map pool and updating the visuals of all of these CS maps to make them look a bit more modern, let's say, but that doesn't necessarily always make for a good experience when it comes to gameplay. In Black Squad, the maps are very basic in parts, arguably too basic for a game releasing in 2017, but I can't decide if that's by design, as in they wanted them to be basic and that's the art style, or because they're not quite finished yet, or maybe it's just a lack of creativeness. Either way, most of the maps play out fine. They tend to have distinct lanes, like a lot of other CSGO maps. You've got multiple ways to get to each bomb site too, with a middle path that's usually covered by a sniper. Sounds a lot like CSGO when you think about it actually. But just like I did with Ironside though, I think we need to touch on pay to win. Whenever a free-to-play game comes out, it's important to look at what can be purchased and determine if players can gain an advantage from buying weapons and items. Free-to-play isn't that fun if someone can spend $20 and instantly be better equipped than you. Much like Ironside though, I'm glad to report that the game does fine in that regard. Weapons are easily purchased and you gain plenty of XP by playing a few games to get weapons that you want. In fact, the developers say that they're completely against pay to win, so that's definitely a good thing. Now, I've seen some people comparing this game to COD because of its smaller, fast-paced maps, and I can see that comparison, but I think that it actually plays a lot slower than COD, and with the importance of aiming and headshots and the lack of hold mouse 1 for no recoil, means that I'd lean more towards Counter-Strike as a fair comparison, but I'd recommend that if you're interested, you download the game and give it a go for yourself. I'm not saying that I'm going to play Black Squad every day or it's going to become a big thing. I wouldn't go that far. In fact, I don't really play CSGO much anymore apart from the odd game every now and again, but that doesn't change the fact that I think Black Squad is a fun game, and because it's free to play, I felt like it was worth a mention and a video. I think a lot of people, especially my viewers, would enjoy it if they tried it out. I know that I did. I checked out the Steam stats for the game, and right now on PC there's around 9,000 people playing it. That might not seem that much, but honestly for a free-to-play FPS, I think it's doing pretty okay. I know that there are plenty of free-to-play games that aren't Fortnite that would jump at the chance to get a regular player base of 9,000 players. And that's all guys, another look at a free-to-play shooter there that I thought was pretty decent and worth your attention. Let me know if you've played it, what you think down below, and if you do play it yourself, was I on the ball with this? I think it's pretty decent. If you liked the video, give me a like. If you didn't like it, dislike it. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.